Welcome to Peer2Peer, the podcast, brought to you by Rayner. Listen in as we hear from top surgeons having great conversations with their peers about hot and popular topics in ophthalmology. Today we are continuing the conversation with Dr Nijm, Dr Botta and Dr Schmickler for part 2 of our 2-episode series about women in ophthalmology, championing women in the OR.
Stephanie, if you were going to look back at your career, or if you were going to look back at yourself 10 years ago, what advice would you give yourself as an ophthalmologist, as a prominent surgeon in Germany?
I would say you have to have a goal and you have to stick to your goal and never give it up. But you also have to look around, which means you have to network and you have to maybe to learn soft skills if you do not have them. Look what we say around the world and do not look only in ophthalmology. You have to learn from other markets. I think this is very important. I can learn from other markets in order treating patients, because patients have to trust to you. First is quality, second is trust, which is so important. And this is.
Let me interrupt you there, because I think that's such a great point. And I would love to hear Josefina's take on this. So what other markets have you looked at to get pearls of how to work with patients and staff in ophthalmology?
Right. So, I'm a professor in the University of Buenos Aires. So after, dedicating some time to teaching and learning, because to me, when you teach, you learn. I also had, like I was saying before, I had a background in economics, but I went back to an MBA and I started from scratch, like a first year student going with younger people, which is great because, you keep update with everything that is going on around. So to me, at the moment, after you've done your surgical training and you have established your business, sometimes you need to be properly educated into something as an MBA.
For me, if I go around, for example, if I go out for a weekend, I look at the hotel whether I can take something home as a message for my practice, for my clinic, or if I go to a museum, and if they have a good plan how to guide the people through the museum, I think, would it be something for our practice in order to have a plan how to guide the patients through our practice, through our clinic, to have a patient journey. And therefore, this is for me learning from other markets, or for example, good service in a restaurant and how the chief of the restaurant goes around with his employees. This is also very important.
So you're looking to steal employees from wherever you go to museums and restaurants. Is this what I'm hearing?
Maybe this, but also, the decoration of a room, of a hotel room, which makes it easier. And you have to see patients coming to your practice and clinic, and they are really afraid what is happening, and you want to give them a good atmosphere.
That's such a no. I'm kidding.
That's
although
it.
in the US, we've got a workforce shortage in general, so the people might be looking for ideas here. But Vance Thompson and John Berdal, they have this great in their waiting room. They had copies of this book on the experience economy. And it was something when I first met them that I picked up and read. And I think it's really to your point, to what we're looking at, is that ultimately, patients they want this experience that's different, that's unique, that's personalized. It's what we all want when we go to stores and we look to see how can we elevate that experience, so that, as you said, as they're leading through that cataract journey, that they have guidance and that they know what to expect, and that they come out of it not only with great vision, but also with feeling that they've been well taken care of. And so I definitely think there are a lot of lessons from the hospitality industry, from other types of that's why I thought the point was so interesting. But I think that there are lessons that we can learn that can help our patients have a better experience when they're in our practices.
Surely. And you know what? Another industry that I like having looked into it sometimes, it's digital marketing and communication.
Yes.
Because, young people they spend so many hours looking, into their screens and their computers and their cell phones, that in the way you communicate to them, it's very important.
Sure.
Then, by talking to young patients and young students, I ended up understanding why they spend so much time in there. And that we need to be able to, transition into understanding that there are new ways of communicating with patients. And those fields are one of them.
I think that's a really interesting point. It's been, I think I was going to touch on the networking aspect. And I think the networking aspect and the digital marketing aspect, there are two areas that as young ophthalmologists come into the field, that's going to be different for them than it was even, like you said, 5 years ago. What pearls for networking can you give for younger ophthalmologists?
I thank Rayner very much for giving us the opportunity to come together today. And I think this is important. And this is something what companies like Rayner should do, bring together people not only for scientific reasons, also for networking, because what you learn from a discussion at lunch or at dinner from a colleague is sometimes much more worth than a long presentation you heard during the conference. Unfortunately, we have the codex, but I hope that the codex will not be so severe anymore, so that the company can bring people together, because I did not know other doctors before, but then I had Rayner and they did a meeting and I got to know a colleague always wanted to get to know. And this is so good that industry can help us to build bridges,
Yes, I agree with you completely. And also, after the pandemic, a good thing about the pandemic was that nowadays you are one click away of being able to watch any very important professor around the world lecturing about, cataract surgery or cornea or wherever you want to listen or get instructed about it. So it's not the scientific knowledge you're looking for exactly, because you're able to, like we said, one click away, and then you can basically listen to anyone. So what's bringing us together back in in-person meetings and in this sort of experiences with podcasts and interviews or whatever, it's actually the experience, which is what Stefanie was saying. It's the ability to be able to talk to each other and to say, well, hey Lisa, you know what, if I do this, my results are this. And sometimes to be able to do that, you need to be in person or to create different experiences that do not, go back to the old way we used to teach. And when I say old way, I'm including myself.
I wasn't going to name any names.
But
no, I think that they're both excellent points. What to me has come out of the pandemic is the recognition that really a hybrid approach to our learning and our networking is the wave of the future. Because there's certainly things digitally that we can connect now. Even doing this podcast, we're in 3 different countries and we're coming together to be able to share knowledge, to network with each other, and hopefully to share some great pearls for anyone listening worldwide. And yet, exactly what Stefanie was talking about, there's some intangibles that happen when you're in person with other like-minded surgeons that you can't quite put your finger on doing virtually, but it certainly opens the doors to make these connections. And I agree. Rayner has done a great job of being able to pull amazing surgeons together to share ideas, to talk about the Rayner products, that the lenses and everything that they make, and how we can use those to help patients and pick up these pearls that we can help each other with. I do want to acknowledge the great things that Rayner is doing to bring people together, and give each of you an opportunity to discuss how you work with Rayner, what's the products they use, how do they support your practice, and what you value about the collaboration.
I started with the Ray 1 with the hydrophobic lens, and I was really very fascinated because we started to implant the lens during the pandemic. We do not want to have somebody from outside in our OR. We did it with a video and it went fantastic, and the quality, we were really very happy. And the team from Rayner is very, very eager and very busy and always contacting us. We have a lot of fun working together.
Yeah, it's good fun. So I started implanting Rayner lenses 15 years ago. So I went from, the very old models to the new EMB. And, over the years, their lenses have been excellent. So that's not a surprise. But in the last 2 years that I've been working with them closer, their team is wonderful. And I'm not just saying this, this is what I actually think. And the last thing that I got involved with was, working with RayPro, the new app. So it's an application that enables patients and doctors to be able to collect data and to work with big data, not only for Rayner lenses, but any kind of lenses, with very small questionnaires that have to do with patient satisfaction, that have to do with the kind of implant they have in their eyes. So to me, that's wonderful, because sometimes, we as surgeons see our patients, let's say, up till 1 year after surgery, for example, right? But then 3 years into their surgeries, you have no data, no idea how they're doing. So to me, that's going to be something really good, that once we're able to collect the data, I think it's going to help us.
I think that's fantastic, is that the digital innovations are certainly the future in ophthalmology, how we improve our workflow, how we improve our collection of data to tailor our offerings to patients, and how we can continue to customize the surgeries that we offer, the lenses that we offer. It's interesting because I'm going to have to reach out to the two of you for all the experience with the Rayner lenses, because they're we just got some of the newest ones, the EMV in the US. And so it's really exciting to have their new technology here for me to be able to use. What I do have experience with, and hopefully you guys will too, is using Omidria for cataract surgery to keep the pupil dilated and staying still. Yeah. So perhaps we can continue this exchange of information with pearls in the future. So I wanted to, for our last question, we wanted to have a bonus, sweet and spicy. What is one sweet thing, something about being a leading woman in ophthalmology, and maybe one that's a little spicy, so that it has a little controversial, perhaps. Don't get us anything don't say anything to get us taken off of the air, but something that could be debatable, I guess. Josefina, do you want to start off this one?
Okay, how controversial do you want me to be?
Josefina, we have to stay on.
So a sweet spot, like a really sweet one, is that like we work in a field that it's so satisfying because you're restoring vision, right? So there's nothing better than finishing a cataract surgery, and the patient stands up from from the surgery, and they say, "Oh my God, I can see." It's so satisfying to us, I think. And then a spicy one, especially for young girls, young ophthalmologists. We have to stop making excuses, about, oh, because we're girls, it's harder for us. Yeah, it's hard, but it's also good in a different way. So take away those preconcepts, and just know that if you're, like I said before, it's all about merit. If you work hard and you put into the hard work, you're going to be able to make it. And also you need to planify your life, to plan ahead in time, like I was saying, because, if your goal is ophthalmology and maternity, let's say, they both can be achieved, but you need to work around your time, and when to start doing each one of those things. Because sometimes when you have, little kids, young kids, and you are going to be, let's say, in the hospital 12 hours, then that's going to be a problem, right? So you need to be able to plan ahead. So that's my conclusion.
I love those and I don't think we'll get taken off the air, so we're good. The last lecture I gave on negotiation at Academy, I ended it with negotiation skills take work. It's hard, but guess what? You are incredible surgeons and you do hard stuff every day. So you can do this too. And I think that's exactly what you were saying. Stefanie, please enlighten us with what you would add in sweet and spicy.
Sweet, I would say, in ophthalmology, it's the way that we women are the only woman in society, for example, and there are more men. You are exclusive as a woman then, and you have to get used that you are in a group only with men, and then you have to be self-assured if men are only talking about cars and things like this, and you can talk about other things, and then they, oh yeah, okay. And the spicy is what I would say and give on the way. Be critical also on products coming on the market. Don't jump on every hype, but look at it carefully before you give it to the patient.
That is excellent. That is excellent. I think it's something that we as clinicians, as surgeons, really, it's a big responsibility to evaluate the technology and what is best for your patients, but it's something that's critical. It's great in ophthalmology that we have the opportunity to work with so many companies that are so innovative and continue to keep pushing the envelope. And we too have to keep pushing the envelope on what we ask them to do and how we evaluate their technology. So I like both your sweet and spicy one too. Well, thank you both very much. This has been quite an informative discussion, and really, it's so wonderful, like I said at the outset, to have such incredible women leaders from around the globe coming together to share their thoughts and opinions. And so we hope that all our listeners have gotten some great pearls to take home with you. Thanks to Rayner for hosting this, and thanks to both Dr. Stefanie Schmickler and Dr. Josefina Botta for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lisa.
Join us for the next episode, where Dr. Carl Stonecipher sits down with Professor Graham Barrett to talk about the concept behind Ray 1 EMV. For more information about this episode's topic and to read the show notes, visit the Peer2Peer hub at rayner.com/peer-to-peer. This podcast is provided for general information purposes only. The presenters' views are their own. Rayner does not endorse off-label use. Users must refer to the product labelling and instructions for use for Rayner products in all cases. Not all Rayner products are available in all countries. The full disclaimer can be found in the show notes.